Hey y'all, welcome back to another reading vlog. This is going to be a weekend vlog instead of a weekly vlog because last week was just super chaotic and unproductive, and I just was dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety, and I was not sleeping well as a result. Like, I had some pretty bad insomnia all week, and it was not good. I had jury duty, and that was like causing me to kind of freak out and panic a little bit all week, and that was very much like the root of my problem. Was I was worried about that, and then it turned out I didn't even need to go to jury duty because they want you to like check in the day before to verify that you're actually required to report in if they still need you to come in. And it turned out they didn't need me, so I was not required to report, so it was all for nothing anyway. So that being said, I'm scrapping the weekly vlog and we're moving forward for the weekend. It's currently Friday evening and it's actually a long weekend, so it's Labor Day weekend and I'm off on Monday, so that's really nice. And I'm hoping to get caught up on some of my schoolwork, but also hopefully get caught up on a lot of the reading that I didn't get done this week. I have a few things that I'm currently reading that I'm hoping to make some progress on. First of all, The Blade itself. I'm tired of talking about this book almost because like I've been reading this since January and this has been on so many TBRs, it's been in so many videos, and I really would love to just finally be done with it so I can move on to book 2. I'm loving this and it's very silly that I haven't finished it yet, but I've been annotating and that makes it a little bit slower. I did finally put a normal bookmark in it, so that's very exciting. We finally have not a receipt in there, but I really would love to finally finish this because it's a book I'm really enjoying. I think the characters and the writing are fantastic, and I just really want to get back into this world and finally finish this book off so I can move on to book 2. So that's the one thing I would like to work on. And then I'm also currently reading Guardian by Priest, which is the beginning of a trilogy. This is a queer romance supernatural mystery trilogy that is just so interesting sounding. I have started this, I'm about 70 pages in, and it's really fun so far. But this is following Zhao Yunlin and Shen Wei, who are these two men who meet when Zhao, who is he's the director of the Special Investigations Department, which is a subset of the Public Security Ministry. He gets called in to investigate a mysterious death on the campus that Shen Wei works on, and they end up meeting through that. And there's like romance ensues, but also lots of like spooky mysteries and things. Now I think this book is actually 2 mysteries instead of 1 because there's something in the chapter bit at the beginning. The contents, that's what that's called. It says Arc 1 Reincarnation Dial and Arc 2 Mountain River All. So I think it's actually 2 stories, but I'm so interested in this. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I think it's going to be a really fun one to keep moving forward with. So that is the other thing I would like to read. Now I did just buy this yesterday, so I'm for once like actually starting a book as soon as I pick it up, and that is also very exciting because that's one of my goals for the year, was to be better about reading the books that I buy like right after I get them instead of letting them languish on my shelves. So those are kind of my main 2 things. And then the other thing I want to mention that I won't be talking about here, but I just want to like put this on your radar, is I'm currently reading The Secret History as well. I've just started this. I'm like very early. I had to restart it because I read like 60 pages last year and then I never finished it, and I no longer remember most of the details. So I did restart this, but I'm currently working on a Dark Academia project that should be coming out at the end of November that I wanted to do throughout the fall, since this is like, you know, the fall semester and everything. So I am kind of working on this at this moment. I'm not going to be talking about it here, but I just want to let you know this is going on in the background, and hopefully you'll be excited to see those videos when they come out. I don't know. We'll see. Those should be coming at like the last full week of November, like right around Thanksgiving time. So is there anything else? Oh yeah, so I'm not going to be filming probably much tomorrow or reading much tomorrow because I'm helping a friend move. She just got a new job and she's moving into a new apartment right before she's starting her new job. So I told her that whenever she's ready to move to let me know and I would come help. So that's going to be tomorrow. She's already kind of started the process. She had her keys from like last weekend, so she started moving some of her smaller stuff, but I'm going over to help her and her family move like the big stuff in tomorrow. So as far as I know, the plan is for me to come home tomorrow evening and I'll have, you know, the rest of that time free to read, but I am going to be busy tomorrow. So I think that's it. I think that's all of the things I needed to tell you, and now I'm actually going to go get started on my work stuff for this afternoon. Not like work, but like things I need to get done this afternoon, because I need to film my August wrap up and I also need to work on some of my thesis prep reading because I'm currently partway through that. I've read several of the articles, but I need to read a few more before I kind of fully narrow in on what my topic is going to be, because I'm still kind of figuring out what my argument is. So I'm probably gonna work on those two things this afternoon, and then I'll hopefully be doing some more reading later this evening. That's kind of what's coming up in this vlog, and I'm gonna go get started, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little while when I have hopefully gotten some things done. I just got home from Barnes & Noble, and I have a buddy. He's inspecting the little haul I have for you guys. He's checking those out, making sure they've been, you know, properly blessed by a cat. He's happy I'm back, I think. My mom is working, like, from the office today, rather than from home as she usually does. So he's a little out of sorts. He's used to mom being here to hang out with him during the day. So let's see, what if I... There we go. Don't dig your nails in. You're okay. There you go, bud. Let's see. Can I? There he is. A little buddy. So, get this readjusted. Now that I'm back, I have a little haul for you guys. I did buy the one book I went in for and a couple of others, as is usual for me. But the book I went in looking for was Guardian by Priest, which is a boys love light novel, I think. But it's basically about these two guys, Zhao Yunlin and Xin Wei. And Zhao is a investigator, I think, of some sort. He works in like supernatural affairs department and is dealing with some sort of murder investigation. And then Xin Wei is a university professor. They end up meeting through this investigation that is going on, and I believe they're working together to solve some sort of murder mystery. And there's also obviously a queer romance at the center of it. So it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It sounds right up my alley because I love supernatural elements in murder mysteries. I love kind of urban fantasy murder mysteries. And I like books that have a queer romance in them, or romance in general. I like when it's like a subplot, you know? Like, I don't necessarily want to read like a contemporary romance. So actually, it doesn't even need to be a subplot. I don't want to read something that's like this, like there's a romance that's central to it, but isn't like a contemporary romance. Because I think I find that I just don't care about the plot lines in contemporary romance. But like, you add in a supernatural murder mystery, and now I'm invested. So that's what I need to enjoy a romance. This sounds like it's gonna be really good, and I was delighted because I saw this when Shelley Parker-Chan tweeted about it, and they said it's one of their favorite novels by this writer, and that they particularly like how competent the characters are, that they're like really good at their jobs. And that's a thing that I love in fiction, is when you have really competent characters who are just really good at what they do. So I'm very excited about this. I think it sounds like a lot of fun, so I'm very much looking forward to picking this one up. See, where can I put this? I got a cat in my lap, so I can't put it in my lap. The next thing I picked up was The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard. This is an author I've been wanting to try. I wasn't terribly interested in 56 Days because I didn't want to read like a COVID novel, but this one is about, it's actually based on a series of unsolved murders. No, not unsolved murders, unsolved disappearances in the 90s in Ireland. And this is based on that, and it's about, I think, a woman is searching for her sister. So, yeah. 1 year ago, Lucy's sister Nikki left to meet friends and never came home. The third Irish woman to vanish inexplicably in as many years. The agony of not knowing what happened that night has turned Lucy's life into a waking nightmare. And so she starts to search for him. And then there's a person in the missing persons unit who's a civilian, like, administrator position in the missing persons unit, but she really wants to be in the Irish police force, the An Garda Síochána. And so she is like working towards solving this mystery as well for her own purposes of like getting into the police force officially. And I believe there's also a plot line where you're seeing the murderer or the kidnapper. Says a nameless man drives through the night, his latest victim in the back seat. He's going to tell her everything from the beginning, and soon she'll realize what you don't know can hurt you. I think it sounds so good. I'm really interested in this, and I'm curious to know a little bit. I think there's an author note, but I'm curious to know a little bit about like the disappearances that inspired this. But I think it sounds so good, and I don't think I've read any Irish crime novels yet. I've been enjoying in kind of recent years trying to read more crime novels from other countries, and I've read one from Morocco now, I've read a few from Japan, and I don't think I've read one from Ireland yet, but I've been to Ireland, so I'm very excited to read this one and kind of, you know, have that first-hand experience with the area that it's set in. I was there for study abroad for like 5 months, which was really cool. It was a really fantastic experience, and Ireland is a really cool place. I really enjoyed my time there, so I'm excited to try an Irish crime novel now. And then, lastly, if I can get this without everything falling over, I also picked up the newest Junji Ito, so Ichi, because I don't actually have any unread Junji Ito on my shelf, or I didn't up until now, because I'd finished everything I had. And what I found with Junji Ito is that when I really like his work, I really like his work. But when I don't like it as much, it's just kind of meh for me. Like, I tend to rate him 3 stars, like 2 to 3 stars, or like 4.5 stars. So what I wanted to try was like finding something that was a little more interconnected, because my favorite thing I've read from him so far is that there's a like short series of like interconnected short stories in the back of his adaptation of Frankenstein, and I really enjoyed those. That's my favorite thing I've read from him so far. It's these interconnected short stories about a high school student who lives in a really weird house, and I wanted to try something else that was kind of interconnected. And I know like Smashed and Shiver and Tombs are all like just individual short stories. I think they probably have like a couple here and there that interconnect, but they're just like story collections of a bunch of his different short stories. But this one, Soichi, is an interconnected collection that follows the title character and his very weird family. I think there's a couple of stories about this character in one of his other story collections, but this is like entirely about this character. And I think that if I'm going to like love something from Junji Ito, like have a new favorite, it's gonna be something like this that's interconnected and has those kind of elements, because that was the thing that I loved about the stories at the back of Frankenstein. I can't remember the name of the character from that, but that was just such a neat premise where it all kind of like came together, and like the first story tied into the last story, it all kind of came full circle. So I really wanted to try something else kind of interconnected from Junji Ito. So I'm very excited that they had Soichi today, and I'm probably going to save that one for around Halloween time, because that'll be a good one to read then. Of course, I say that now and I may get partway through September and go, no, I want to read it right now. So, you know, whatever happens, happens. But I'm really excited to read all of these. I think they sound fantastic, and I'm happy with my selections. Also, it helps that I had some rewards money and a coupon, so I didn't actually spend all that much on my little haul today either, so I'm very pleased about that as well. Well, it's been a few hours, and Mom and I went and got food at our favorite burger place. It's been a while since we've been there, so that was a lot of fun, and it was really nice weather, so we got to sit out on their like outside patio area, which is just lovely. We had like our first kind of cooler, more fall-like day. I think it was supposed to be hot again next week, but it was like in the 70s today, and it was perfect. So we went and did that, and then we went to Joann Fabrics because I wanted to get a couple of things. I've been wanting to try shuttle tatting, so I've got some shuttles, and I bought this like beautiful kind of variegated blue and lilac yarn. I'm trying to get it to focus. It does not want to focus on the yarn. So it's this like variegated blue and lilac. This lighting isn't great, but I just really like the variegation in it, and I think it's just like really pretty and cheerful. So I bought that because I saw that you could get started with crochet thread, and then later when you get more confident you can get like tatting specific thread. But I've just been seeing some like really beautiful pieces on TikTok, and it looks like it's one of those things that's like easy to start, difficult to master kind of a thing. And I've been really wanting something that would be a little bit easier on my wrist but more portable than weaving, because weaving is easier on my wrist. And is a great break for me from knitting and crocheting, which I also love, but it gives me like it gives me a little break from things that are difficult on my bad wrist. But it's very not portable. It's very big. I have a 24-inch loom, so I can't just take it with me places. So I think this will be something that I can try that will be a little more portable, because like this is more carryable than like a whole loom. So I'm very excited to start that. I'm gonna start looking for some tutorials tomorrow. But then the other thing I got was that they had their Halloween socks out, and I wear Halloween socks like year round, but I've got a few pairs that are starting to get holes in them because I wear them so much. So I have got some more ones. So I got some like cats and ghost costumes. We've got Witch Please. Got Frankenstein's monster. And this is my favorite color combo. I love purple and bright green. And then, if you've got it, Haunted. They bring me joy. They're fun and cheerful, and it'll be good to have some replacements for my socks that are getting holes in them. Then the last thing I have to mention, the actual like reading update, is that while we were waiting for a table to be ready, because it's a very busy burger joint because it's very popular, I sat down and read The Pig in the Derby Hat by M.A. Nights, which is a like 50-page short story / novelette kind of a thing. It's the first in a series called the Trussell and Gout Paranormal Investigation series, and they're all like, I think, short reads like that. So I sat down and read this, and I thought it was fun. This is about Clementine Trussell, who works in a bakery with her parents, and she's taking care of her grandmother, but her grandmother is like pretty ill at the moment, and she's also kind of like looking for another job because the family could use money. So in the midst of all of this, she sees a pig in a derby hat come out of her grandmother's room, and she finds somebody else who says that he saw it, and that man's name is Theophilia Scout, and he turns out to be like a paranormal investigator, and so he helps her like deal with the pig in a derby hat situation. And this is just kind of like the beginning of their friendship and they're working together, and it's just like really whimsical and fairy tale-esque. For my taste, it was a little too short because a lot of stuff had to just be very convenient in it, which I think works for the kind of whimsical tone, but I wanted more like actual investigation, and there really wasn't much of that. And it was all kind of like tied up a little too neatly with a bow at the end, but I did think it was really fun, and it was just kind of a silly, entertaining way to pass the time while I was waiting. And yeah, I'd recommend it if you're looking for something like quick and easy and just something kind of like cheerful and silly. I had a really good time with it, and I probably will read the rest of the series. Happy Sunday. The lighting kind of evens out. I think I was too close as I was turning on the camera there. Anyway, yesterday was a successful day of getting my friend moved into her apartment. I got there, and within an hour of my arrival, we had managed to carry all of her furniture up and all the heavy stuff. And then they were still assembling IKEA furniture when I left, but they did finish that, and she sent me some pictures, and it looks really good. So I'm really happy for her, and I hope she's gonna end up loving her new apartment because it seems like a really nice space. So we did that. And then I made it back in time to go to dinner with my mom and my aunt and uncle, which was really nice because it's been a while since we've seen them. So it was good to get to like have a meal with them because it's been a while. So that was a really good way to spend the evening. And that means I didn't do any reading yesterday, but I did do like a lot of shuttle tatting because I started it yesterday morning, and it's really small and portable. So I've done a lot of it. I found a playlist that's a like shuttle tatting for beginners by Bryce Adams, I think is the person's name, and it's a really well done tutorial. She does a really good job of like explaining the different movements and everything. And so I kind of stopped at the second video, kind of halfway. It's a two-part video on like how to make picos, which are these like little loops. Let's see if I can get this to focus on one of these. Maybe if I do that. Maybe. There we go. So like the little loops that stuck off are the little picos, and you can use them to join the rings together. So I have been practicing that bit of it because I felt like I got the basic motion down pretty quickly, but that was a little bit harder, and so I wanted to spend some time getting used to how that works. So I think probably later today I'll get to move to the second half of that video, but like I've used about, I don't know, half of the thread I put on here, and I've just kind of been making these little practice pieces, and I'm finding it like very satisfying as a like almost kind of meditative series of motions. It's very simple. You're doing the kind of same two motions over and over again, but I just found it like really satisfying and really soothing. So I'm having a great time doing this, and I'm looking forward to learning the next step. I think this is going to be a great solution for me in terms of like a craft that is portable and is something I can kind of take with me when I'm going places, because that's really what I was looking for, was something portable. Because knitting is also portable, but I wanted something portable that wasn't going to hurt my wrist if my wrist was having one of its sore episodes. So I think this is going to be perfect, and I'm really excited to be learning it. So it's very, very fun. Also, two separate people yesterday that I was talking to, my aunt and then my friend's mom, both were immediately like, oh, are you shuttle tatting? Like, I remember my grandmother doing that. Or I remember knowing somebody that did that. And like, I thought that was really interesting that I had like two separate people immediately recognize it, because I'd never heard of it up until recently when I started seeing it on TikTok. So it was a kind of a fun little moment, a couple of moments in my day. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And then let's see, again, I didn't do any reading yesterday because I was kind of on the go most of the day, but I did the night before that get to page 100 of Guardian, and I'm loving this. It's very dramatic and over the top and silly. It reads a lot like fan fiction in like the best way. It's just so enjoyable to read. So I'm having a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the mysteries are gonna go and see where like the relationship between these two characters is going to go, because so far they've just kind of met and one of them has been acting slightly weird. So interested to see how that's going to play out. But I'm enjoying it. I'm like 100 pages in, so that's some progress. I also have almost made it to where I left off the last time I read The Secret History. So for that other video, I'm finally making some progress there. Now for today, I need to do a little bit of thesis reading before I do anything else. But first, I'm going to brunch with Mom with a friend of ours. So it's been a very like going out to restaurants kind of weekend, which is abnormal for us, but we're gonna go meet a friend for brunch, and then I'm gonna do some thesis reading. And then I think what I might do when I get home is go ahead and get back to where I was in The Secret History. And then I think I'm gonna try and tackle this after I did my thesis reading, because I really would love to be able to finish at least one book this weekend, and I think that this is the one I have the best chance of doing that with. So I think I might swap over and read some more of The Blade itself this afternoon, especially because I'm better rested now, so I feel like I'll be prepared to like do the annotating that I have been doing on this one. But yeah, I think that is all of the update. That's everything I did yesterday. That's what I'm working on this afternoon. So I think I'm gonna go do some more shuttle tatting. I think I'm gonna watch the next section of the tutorial video and get ready for brunch. And I will check back in with you guys after a while when I will have hopefully, if all goes well, we'll have finished a book, but we'll see where I'm at this evening. Well, I'm back from brunch, and I have a couple of updates for you. The first of which is that I read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson this morning. This was one I needed to read for class on Wednesday, and I've read this before. I read it back in high school, and it kind of reiterated my thoughts on it, which is that I don't care for this story all that much. I think it's interesting, and the twist at the end is like, you know, I think it's shocking the first time you read it, not so much the second time, but also I think that I just don't really care for Shirley Jackson's writing style all that much. I don't really enjoy it, and I don't really like the setting of it, and it just is not a story for me. But it's one that I needed to read for class, and I am curious to see what kind of discussions are going to come out of it. So, like, you know, kind of mixed feelings on it, but I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. Then the other thing I have to mention is I have a little tiny book haul for you, because we happen to be, when we went to brunch, we happened to be on the same side of town as the local used bookstore. So we swung in there, because I think they're actually closing and moving locations. So we swung through there, and I picked up a few things at the used bookstore that I'm gonna put in my like top of my TBR cart, so I'll hopefully get to them soon. So the first thing, and the only one that I'm not planning to, or not going to try and read soon, actually I take it back. Not the other one. There's two of these I want to read soon, and there's two of these that I kind of want to hold on to for later. The first one I want to hold on to for later is Maplecroft by Sherry Priest, which is a what if Lizzie Borden were a monster hunter story. That just kind of sounds fun to me, and I have liked other kind of historical horror fantasy books in a similar vein. Like I liked Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I never finished that one, but I was enjoying it when I was reading it. That wasn't an intentional DNF, I kind of got to a point where I didn't have time to read it, and I never came back to it. But I know that I like that style of story, so I'm really curious to see what the author is going to do with this setup. So I have that, and I really want to save this one for Halloween, because I think it's going to be perfect for spooky season. And then I also, the other one I want to kind of hold on to for later is A Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan, which is a flintlock fantasy about a guy who overthrows the king. He like leads a coup, and they're successful, and then this book is starting from that point of like what comes next. I always like a story that kind of starts from a what comes next premise, and I think that I also quite like flintlock fantasy from the like little bits of it I've read. So I'm really interested to see what the story is like, but I do want to hold on to it for later because I think it's going to be similar in tone to The First Law, and I think that's gonna be confusing for me and I'll have trouble like not comparing them to each other. So I wanna like hold on to this for when I'm done reading the First Law trilogy, so that then I have like something else to kind of move into from there. But I'm really excited for this, and I was excited they had book 1 because the last time I was in there, they had books 2 and 3 but not book 1. So this time they finally had book 1 and I'm excited to give it a shot. And then the last 2 I do want to read soon, and these are both actually book of the month editions. So first up I've got The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, which I've seen lots of people reading recently. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews, but the reviews that have been positive have mentioned things that I think I'm going to like. Like they've said that the writing was interesting and that it's a weird book, and I'm really curious about it for that reason. I've also had some good luck recently with other kind of book and publishing oriented thrillers and literary books. That was a really redundant way of saying that, but like I read Yellowface and Last Word recently and really enjoyed both of those. So I'm really interested in kind of continuing in that vein and seeing if I like this as well. And that one I am gonna try and get to very soon. And then the last one I got was Kake by Vaishnavi Patel. And this one is a kind of in the vein of Circe. It's a retelling of an ancient story from the perspective of a woman who was villainized in that story. And so I'm really excited for this because I love Circe. It's one of my favorite books. I actually need to go back and reread it at some point, but I love the writing in that. I love Circe as a character. I like the project of it. So I'm really excited to give Kake a try because I've heard a lot of really good things and from people who really liked Circe as well. So I'm excited that I managed to find a copy of this. It's chunkier than I thought, but I think it's going to be a really great read and I'm excited to get to it. So those are my little book haul for the day. And now, since I'm home, I'm gonna go change into some lighter, less sweaty clothes because it's hot as hell outside, and settle in to do a little bit of reading. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm gonna read. I'm debating right now between The Blade itself, or I'm kind of thinking about reading Soichi. I'm gonna grab those real quick. So I'm kind of debating between finishing up some of The Blade itself. I got about 250 pages left still, or reading Soichi. Obviously I don't have to necessarily pick between them. I could technically read this and this will only take me an hour or so. It's even, I think it's about the same length of or shorter than Gyo, which took me about an hour to read, hour and a half maybe. So this one I could read and then I could pick up this later. I'm just not sure what I'm in the mood for right now. I'm kind of leaning towards Soichi just because I think I kind of want something that's going to be a quick read, and I've been really interested in this one from Junji Ito because I've been hearing that it's interconnected stories. So yeah, I'm curious. One of these two is what I'm going to sit down and read, but you'll find out a little bit when I come back and update. Well, I just finished Soichi and I really liked this. I think this is maybe my favorite thing I've read from Junji Ito so far. I think the horror in this one isn't quite as over the top and gross as some of his other work that I've read. This doesn't go quite as far, but I think that Soichi is a really interesting character, and he's like, we get a lot of different perspectives on him because we get a story from his perspective, we get a couple of stories from his cousin's perspective, we get one from his brother's perspective, there's one from like another kid at school. So I really like there were a lot of different perspectives on Soichi and his behavior, and we get to see like some of it from his own like point of view. But this is just following him as he gets into various hijinks, and I thought it was interesting that he never really goes too far. Like, he does things that are harmful, but he never, like, there's never, in the way that a lot of other Junji Ito's work, a lot of other works by Junji Ito have, you know, lots of death and lots of like grossness and people disappearing and things like that. You don't ever have kind of these permanent effects from Soichi and his things that he gets up to. So I think it was an interesting portrayal, and I think it makes sense for the fact that the character is only like in 5th or 6th grade, so he's fairly young, and he does things that are creepy and self-centered, but he never goes too far in the sense that like things tend to work out well in the end. But he's an interesting character, and I think I really enjoyed this, and I liked the way this was interconnected. So I would definitely read more about this character, and I'm looking forward to picking up some other works from Junji Ito. This is, I think, his most recent one that's been translated, but I mean, so far this is my favorite thing I've read from him, and I am like really pleased that I picked this one up. So yeah, really glad that I got to that. The other thing I did was I did a little bit more of my shuttle tatting, and Let's see if I can get this to focus well. It does not like it when I put my hand in front of it. Maybe if I like do that. There we go. So this next bit was learning how to do these like little chains that connect the little rings. I ran out of thread at this end, but yeah, I really am enjoying this, and now I've got kind of the major steps of tatting kind of figured out. So now I need to watch the tutorial on how to read tatting patterns. So that has been my afternoon/evening so far, and I think I'm going to go make some dinner, and then my friend wanted to play some more Great Ace Attorney, which I'm really excited about. I really want to play some more of it and finish it, especially because I'm hoping to include it in my second thesis. So yeah, gonna play some more of that this evening, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. So far so good. Did make some reading progress, and I think next probably I'll tackle more of the blade itself, but I don't know if I'll get to that tonight or if I might leave it for tomorrow. I still have tomorrow off because it's a long weekend, and I'm gonna try and get some thesis work done since I didn't do any of it today, so I'm probably gonna spend most of the day tomorrow doing that, but we'll see where I get throughout the day, like where I end up in terms of productivity versus reading. So anyway, I think that's it for now, but I really need to go get some food because I'm actually quite hungry now. I didn't realize how late it had gotten. I am so glad it is a holiday weekend. I'm so glad to have today off. One, because I've not been productive at all this week. I've done some reading. Haven't done any, or this weekend I mean, haven't done any of the homework stuff I meant to do. But that changes today. So it is Monday. I don't have to go to class. I don't have my long day this week. So I'm gonna be doing some thesis research this morning. And depending on how I feel after that, I'm gonna try and do at least 2 articles, maybe 3, depending on how dense they are. And then whatever I'm feeling after that, I might try to do some of the reading for next Monday. I might start on that because there's a few that are like keyword pieces that would be useful to go ahead and read. So the reading for next Monday isn't too bad. And then this afternoon, I'm gonna buckle down and try to finish this. So it's gonna be a very reading heavy day of all kinds, but that is my hope for today, is to get some thesis research done, finish the blade itself, and then if I have time and energy, maybe tackle some other things as well. So that is the plan for the day, and my cats have just come in to spend some time. I think Elwood actually just walked off, but Pumpkin is hanging out over in his favorite seat. He loves it over there. And so they're gonna hang out with me. I'm gonna do some homework, very exciting. And I probably will also end up doing more shuttle tatting because I am obsessed with this. I have my little like handful of tangled up little projects. I'm having a great time. So that is the plan for the day, and I also need to edit this vlog today. So I need to get on it so that I can update you guys on the reading when the reading is done and still give myself time to edit. It's gonna be a long day, it's gonna be a busy day, but it's gonna be good, and we're gonna get there, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Also, my battery is flashing, so I gotta stop talking now, so I'll see you guys in a bit. I was gone for about 30 seconds to go get a Kleenex in the other room, and now there's an Elwood in my chair. So I guess that's his chair now. Yeah. Looks very pleased, doesn't he? Very comfy. Well, that went a lot quicker than I was anticipating. I managed to read 3 of the articles that I had saved and take notes on them, all that good stuff. So I have made some good progress, and it's only been about 2.5 hours. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon now. So honestly, that's gone better than I had hoped it would. However, I do notice that my attention is starting to slip a little bit, so I'm gonna take a break from reading academic texts for a little while. I find it helpful to not like overload my brain with too many things, because especially later on when I'm trying to write, it's harder for me to remember what came from where if I do that. So I'm gonna take those 3 and like give myself some time to digest them. And I think for now I'm gonna watch the last tutorial video I needed to for the like the one I have left for shuttle tatting. That's what I'm trying to come up with. I think I'm gonna watch that last video and maybe catch up on a little bit of booktube because I haven't watched in a while. Might go walk on the treadmill while I'm doing that. I haven't quite decided yet. And then I'm going to sit down and work on tackling this so that I can finally be done with it. But yeah, I'm really pleased that this has been going well, even though I've lost my chair to this cat twice. I got it back and then he came back in and started biting me. And so I got up out of the chair with the intention of shedding him out, and the moment I got out of the chair, he was in it again. So yeah, I've lost my chair twice today, but for now I'm gonna go sit somewhere else, I suppose, because I don't necessarily need to be right here at my desk right now, but I'll figure something out. He can have the chair, it's fine. Well, I'm accepting defeat in that I'm not going to finish the blade itself today, but I have made a good chunk of progress. I've read about 100 pages and things are starting to come together in interesting ways. I've gotten to the contest, which is mentioned at the very beginning of the book. We find out there's a like fencing contest that's gonna happen, so I've gotten to that and that's going in interesting directions. And some of the main characters who were in different places are starting to interact with each other, which has been really intriguing. I'm curious to see, because like we get to see their kind of views of each other, and I think that is, it gives a new perspective that I think is making this book even more compelling, because I want to know what do Logan and Jezal and Glokta think of each other, because those are kind of our three primary protagonists. There's also some other characters that we're getting perspectives from, but they aren't as frequent. But I am curious to see what's going to happen with Pharaoh, who's one of those other perspectives. I really like the Dogman. I think he's a fun perspective to follow. So I've been really enjoying it. I am 100 pages further in than I was before, which means I am on track to finish this in the next couple of days. I think I might take this with me tomorrow. I have to go for a doctor's appointment, which almost certainly means lots of sitting around waiting. So I think I'll take this with me tomorrow, so I'll have that while I'm in the waiting room. But yeah, I'm really happy with the progress I've made today, and I'm glad I got some of my thesis research done. So it's been a really successful day. It's been a really nice weekend. So I'm glad I had a holiday weekend and had some time to just kind of both relax and get some things done that I hadn't worked on in a little while. So overall, really great weekend. And I think I'm gonna have to leave this vlog here because I still need to edit it tonight, and it's early enough that that won't be too difficult for me right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work editing this vlog. But I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, I hope you consider giving a like or even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting every Tuesday and Saturday, so there's more content coming soon, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.